All right. Good evening, everybody. Let's do a brief audio and visual check. How's everybody doing tonight? New week. Excited to just get going. Good morning, depending on where you are at. Good evening. How's everybody? It's yes, Tommy. Yes. So let's just go ahead and get started. Welcome to Slow Markets, everybody. I'm Coach Dakota, Coach DBA, and as always, in our YouTube chat, there is our Topstep risk disclosure. Everything that I'll be talking about or going over is for educational purposes only. That being said, let's just start diving into these markets. You can see I have the NASDAQ daily. That's typically what we start with, where we'll do the analysis and rapid fire of the NASDAQ. Crude oil, the Nikkei, and then we'll finish it off with gold, and maybe we might talk about any other markets and go from there. If there's any trade setups, of course, I'm going to be taking them. You can see I did end up a negative day on Friday. My account balance has dropped. Last week I lost 10,000. I lost 10,000 last week. New week. Anyway. Here's the daily chart on the NASDAQ. This is something we were watching. I was watching this going into the end of the week where we're seeing let's see if I can write this out. Higher low, another higher low, and then looking at this to be a higher low as well. So we've been consolidating. You remember how I was looking at this candlestick on October 10th. And I was looking at this to become consolidation. Sure enough, this has become consolidation. It's consolidation right at an area of resistance. You can see there was resistance here back in June, again in the beginning of July, and then, of course there, and looks like a little bit here in the middle of July. So we're consolidating. Market's waiting for some movements to happen. Anyone's guess on which direction we're going to be going. This is a key decision area for the market. Obviously, we're consolidating. We're having a lot of indecisiveness where we've closed really close to where we opened. And then again, as well, we closed really close to where we opened. And so there's a lot of indecision in these markets, or at least in the NASDAQ that we're talking about. And so I think it's fair enough to say more of the same. I'm going to look at this to be inside this range. And until we break out, whether we break to the downside below 20,300 and look for us to rotate back down closer to 20,000, or if we break out and maybe make a run up towards the 20,800s. Of course, we're always waiting on news. There's always something happening around the world or in the markets. But that's essentially what I'm going to be watching and what I'm going to be looking for. So let's zoom in and we could talk about it a little bit. So here's an hourly chart on the NASDAQ. And if we zoom out, you guys could see this a little bit more clear where, is this a cup and handle pattern where we sold off, we pulled back, we found some nice buyers, nice support here. And now we've broke out to the long side. We've broken out. This was resistance. It was resistance again, right around the 20,000 upper 200s, 20,300s. And you could draw this area. This is an interesting zone. This was resistance. It's now becoming support. Friday, that was a nice buying opportunity. Unfortunately, we did not take advantage of it as much as we could have on Friday. Because we were looking and we were right down there right before a news event. So we decided not to be in a position before that. And yeah, beautiful buy the dip opportunity. If we want to highlight, how do we trade a range bound market? Well, this is exactly what we're looking for, right? We want to buy the lows, sell the highs, and it's very hard to do because the market could, break the support or break through the resistance at any time. But it's the play, right? When the market's consolidating, that is the play. It's hard to do. But now, even with more hindsight, it was pretty obvious, pretty simple and straightforward as that's what you do. And so do we continue to consolidate? I don't see a reason why we wouldn't. Let's take a look at the news, actually. Let's take a look at the Trader Hub, and we could look at the economic events. We have OPEC. We have the monthly report. That's going to be affecting news. Of course, lots of Fed speakers. You guys, I'm still getting used to like how I look at this as well. I typically use Forex Factory, and I've been trying to get used to watching this and seeing it, but I'm not seeing too much. Tomorrow is a holiday. It's a bank holiday, and we have the FOMC members speaking as well. So it would make sense that we're not going to see as much volatility tomorrow because it is a bank holiday. And then, of course, Tuesday, we don't have anything. Lots of Canadian news, New Zealand CPI. Let's take a look. I mean, it's a pretty light week, to be honest. Thursday is the only thing I might see a spike in volatility because of the retail sales and unemployment claim. And then we have an ECB press conference. So Thursday, and then that's it. That's it. Is anybody else seeing anything? I'm only seeing Thursday as a day where we could see some volatility. Now, of course, anything can happen, as in a news event could step in here and shake the market up and bring volatility into these markets. But outside of that, it seems to be a pretty smooth selling week in terms of news and craziness. Just Thursday. And so maybe what that's going to mean is, tonight, tomorrow, since it's a bank holiday, Tuesday, Wednesday could be very light in volume and low volatility. We do have OPEC, so maybe we could start watching, crude oil, maybe even gold as more than the NASDAQ or the indices. I'm not sure. It's going to be an interesting week. Very well test traders' patience. We could practice patience. I could see this week being a very good test for traders who are impatient to understand that there might not be that volatility. We might be stuck in a market like this where we are range bound, consolidating back and forth. And so maybe a strategy that is, looking to take advantage of a range bound market of low volatility will be more optimal for this week up until Thursday. That's what I'm going to kind of lean towards myself. Is number one, we want to play what the market gives us, but at least we're going into a week with a game plan, understanding holidays, not a lot of news, and so we could expect more of what we've seen over the past few days, where maybe we rotate back down here to the lows, find buying opportunities. If we, rotate back up to the highs, find selling opportunities. Now remember, it's not going to be pretty. It's not pretty. I mean, this looks good, the way that we've been reacting, where it's pretty straightforward and simple, but it's not always this clean. The market tends to really become messy. And when I say messy, you could see, you can look at this. There's a couple areas of reference, right, where we're there for a few days. It's very hard. You see this big whipsaw to the long side. It's a big candlestick wick. It probably crushed a lot of traders, and then straight back down, straight up. And it happens whenever we're in these consolidating days. We have these really crazy moves that just are very unexpected, and they look like we're going to break in one direction, and then we go right back into the range. And so we could expect something similar this week, where maybe it looks like we're starting to break down if we do start to sell off, and then the next thing we know, we reverse and we're right back in the range, or vice versa. It's not going to always look pretty. So being aware of that, especially in maybe a low volatile market, a low liquidity market, where I talk about the DOM sometimes, that the market can move really quick, really fast in any direction. Because of the low volume, we could see those crazy spikes. Anyway, let's get to some questions while we watch these markets. Yeah, let's definitely get to a few questions. Does the New York session close early tomorrow? It's a bank holiday, so I would expect regular bank trading out. Regular, what do we want to call it? It should be closing at the regular time. It is the futures market. It should close the regular time, but I expect no crazy volatility. Nikkei, Yeah, we'll talk about the Nikkei. We could talk about the overseas markets. Come on. It is not a CME. Yeah, it's a normal day. It's a bank holiday, not a CME holiday. Thank you, Andrew. Yeah, even though we can trade, it doesn't mean we should. I mean, I want to make sure that is very, very clear. Just because we can trade doesn't mean we should. Actually, more often than not, it's probably a better idea not to trade unless you enjoy these type of markets and you have a strategy on this type of market and you understand the market that we are in and you could trade based off of it. Anyway, let's move on. Let's move on to crude oil. Crude oil is seeing a little bit of volatility tonight. This is an hourly chart on crude. Let me zoom out and we could take a look at this a little bit more. So here's an hourly chart on crude oil. And yeah, crude's in an interesting interesting area as well. We had that huge rally off of $66.50 a barrel. We rallied all the way up to over $78 a barrel, pulled back down to the 72. You know, this was a nice resistance zone. This resistance became support. And now I'm looking for this to continue. I'm really looking for this to continue, whether or not, you know, you can see that there's some resistance here around the 76s. We are respecting that. And, you know, tonight we gapped down. We went down as far as almost $74 a barrel. But I'm looking for a higher low. So I'm looking for a reason to buy crude, whether we come down to this zone, come down towards $73.50, $73 a barrel. Maybe even right now, you know, this was a nice resistance. So maybe this resistance will become support. But I'm looking for opportunities to buy crude. I really am in this type of a market condition where maybe we see some consolidation, some chop, and we're seeing that this area around 75 become resistance, but we could be in the same situation. Let me show you over here on the left. So you see this situation, I call this a situation, but this type of a market where we're not really very directional, but it's a simple one where there's opportunities to buy down on these lows. I mean, you could take a look at either these support resistance areas or even further down towards 71. But the idea is see how range bound this market is, where, you know, we go up when we go down, and we're not really going up and to the right, and we're not going down into the right. We're just kind of going to the right. And so I think we could even see something similar to that. It's in the same range. Around 76 at the highs, maybe stretching up to 77, 78, and then coming down to 72s to 73s at the lows. That is how I'm going to be trading crude with a bias to the long side. I do like to be biased to the long side just after all this rally and all of the headline risk in the news that can come out at any moment and spike crude up, you know, $2 or $3 on just some headline in the Middle East. Anyway, that's all I'm seeing on crude. I don't really want to have an overnight trade because it is a bank holiday. Let's take a look at the Nikkei. This is the Japanese market. Man, I think it's very similar. The Nikkei looks a bit stronger than the NASDAQ. We came up and we tested 40,000. 40,000 became resistance. And so I could see us coming down. Maybe we come down to 39,600s. Maybe we, you know, come down to the 700s, find some type of support. You can see this is the Nikkei. It's the Japanese market. And we have been finding higher lows. And so, you know, maybe this is another one of those opportunities. We came back up to 40,000. We're getting a sell-off right now. And maybe we search for an area to buy the dip here in the Nikkei. I mean, it's a U.S. bank holiday. Asian market is open. Japan's market is open. But just because they're open, I think it's going to be the same thing, is that we can find a little more volatility in markets like the Nikkei and crude oil and maybe even gold that we'll take a look here soon. But yeah, I could see this thing selling off even more. I mean, since I've been talking, we've sold off from 835. So we are breaking down a little bit here. Let's take a look at the 5-minute. Yeah, so we are breaking down. This looks like it was trying to become support. We broke down. We're already down to 750s, and this thing might continue to sell off. It's a little too late to sell. For me to get into a short, that was the breakdown right there. That was the missed opportunity. I'll be looking for, 680s to come into play, 680s, maybe even a push lower. I mean, we take a look at that higher time frame, and you can see it's been up and to the right, and just finding areas of support to buy it. Anyway, let's move on to gold, and then we'll get to a few questions. Like I said, it is Sunday, so I usually end the stream a bit early on Sundays. We have a lot of stuff going on Sundays. We have the markets open, we have football, we have, even more important than any of those, we have time with family. Time with family. So here's gold. This is an hourly chart on gold, and I mean, you could see this one's pretty straightforward, right? We came up, we tested the high of this downtrend. I mean, how do you draw this line? I don't know. It's always a resistance zone is the way I look at this. This is some type of a resistance zone. So yeah, sometimes traders I talk to say they have a certain and a very specific way they like to draw these lines. And to me, it's a zone. I stopped caring about drawing these lines so they're so perfect. I'm just seeing this as a zone, and it looks like gold came up, found an area of resistance. We're selling off, and the question is, do we sell all the way off down here? Do we go back to and make a new lower low? That is possible. We're making lower highs and lower low. So I think we could either come down and make a new low, or we can come and find a higher low. So I think there's going to be two options. So something like this, we come down, we make a higher low, and then we look for an area to buy it. Or if we're looking for an opportunity to short it, I mean, we could very well see a lower low here in gold. I am always hesitant to short gold in this type of a market. I mean, we take a look at the daily chart, and I mean, the daily chart's pretty dang bullish, and it's hard to short this kind of a market when some of the it's only been like three red days in a row, not very often, and there has not been as much opportunity to the downside as there is the long side, because we could very well break through this and see a run for 2,700. Maybe even see a run for something even further. So I'm always hesitant to sell gold unless it's at a really good risk reward, which we might be getting a decent risk reward. I mean, the decent risk reward was up here, right? I'm not seeing much. I don't know. We do see a spike in volatility right at 8 p.m. What are you guys seeing? Maybe that would be the question, is ask everybody in the chat what they're seeing, because there's not much going on, to be honest. Let me take a look at crude oil. It is Sunday. Like I said, tomorrow's a holiday, and so I'm expecting lower than normal volatility. Let's get to some of these questions. Dakota, what is the live payout criteria? I mean, it's the same as that in the XFAs. Very quiet week. Yeah, it's going to be a very quiet week. It's a short week. I mean, I am starting tonight. It's Sunday night. I do end my Sunday streams early to see if there's anything going on in the markets, seeing how the market is reacting. And yeah, nothing's going on in these markets. I mean, we have crude oil making the move. I mean, the crude oil's down $1. Crude oil's down $1. That has been the most volatile. You can see the NASDAQ. I could see the NASDAQ is pretty bearish. I wouldn't be surprised if the NASDAQ can continue to sell off towards, these higher 300s. Maybe we see 384, but that is pretty bearish in terms of a technical pattern. Is if we do start to break through this support zone. I mean, what is this? 404, 403. Maybe we see a continuation down to the lower end of this range. That is possible. Nikkei's on the move. I mean, very, very slowly. Like, everything is just moving very slow tonight, and I'm not seeing much opportunity at all. Yeah, everything's moving slow. But yeah, slow and consistent, it looks like. Slow and consistent to the downside here on Nikkei. And then I'm sure it's the same on the NASDAQ. Now we're finding some, do we say we're finding some buyers here? You can see where this is a major area. Resistance right here at the 410s. I mean, yeah, every time we came down here, buyers have been stepping in and finding support. Maybe we get a nice bounce off this. If not, I would look for this to break through, and then the next level I could see is, I mean, maybe down here, maybe these 360s, 370s. Maybe we get a move to the downside. It's hard to say. It's very hard to say. I mean, or we see something like this. This is what I'm sure the market could give us, is a wick down, get everybody in, stop everybody out, and then bounce. Not really much happening, though, outside of that. Trade it? No. I know it would be, for me, it's tempting to buy down here, but I'm going to pass. If it's very tempting for me right now. The more I watch it, the more tempted I am to buy, because we are finding that nice, beautiful wick down there. We're coming up on maybe a 3-bar reversal, and the more I look at it, the more I talk about it, the more I'm going to talk myself into getting into this trade. But I'm going to reluctantly pass. As much as I really want to. So I'm going to pass and wait. Yep, that's, to me, the smart move. Yeah, I mean, even I would say maybe we could see some more volatility in the London, but remember, it's a bank holiday tomorrow. I remember stressing this many times. Bank holiday tomorrow. I mean, it's even a holiday in Japan, right? Let's take a look. Is it a holiday in Japan too? Low volume is very scary. Yeah, it's a bank holiday. I mean, man, there's just nothing. In Japan, Canada, US, not much going on. Maybe tomorrow night. Tomorrow night's probably going to basically be our Monday. Yeah, it's a Canada, it's holiday everywhere, huh? It's Thanksgiving in Canada. Interesting. So I'm looking at tomorrow being Monday, and it's just being a short week. That's the main thing. Short week, tomorrow being the holiday. Well, if the markets are open, the banks will be trading, but it's low volume. I mean, everybody's like, we only have 900 traders here. 900 traders in the chat. What? It's definitely a holiday. Who watched the Green Bay Packers? You guys watch football? My Green Bay Packers did pretty well. But let's get to a few more questions, and then we might even wrap it up pretty early. Yeah. Good game. It was a good game. I didn't watch it. I just seen the highlights. VIP tomorrow. I don't have the details. I've been dropping hints, but we do have the one for Hoop doing the draft. The details that I have, it's going to be tomorrow morning. Monday is tomorrow. So tomorrow morning, where Eddie is going to be announcing the VIP for the draft. Just tune in. You'll get to see. I'm excited. I'm definitely going to be tuning into that one. Hoop is an amazing trader, person, coach. I haven't worked with him too much, but he's always been around the chat. He's been in the community, and man, I would love to be in that VIP room. I think I even have access to it, so I get to see and watch, kind of be the fly in the wall. But it's going to be a draft. Yep, there, he's right there in the chat. So feel free to ask him the questions right there. Yeah, tomorrow morning, that is when you need to stay tuned. Tune into Topstep TV during the day show. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun to see it. I'm excited to see these drafts. I really am, to see how it's going to go. That's going to put us at 4, right? 4 VIP teams. We have Coach Hoop. What was the name of Coach Hoop's? Let's take a look. It's all in the Topstep Discord as well. We have the Lunatics, we have the Market Makers, we have the Stop Hunters, and then we have Coach Hoops. So Coach Hoop is going to be the 4th. Is it Pit Raiders? Old school 50 play. Coach Hoop's going to have Traders Over 50, sponsored by Life Alert. I need to watch what I say. I need... They'll destroy us. They'll destroy us. They'll be extremely patient, and they'll just wait for everybody else to blow their accounts, and they'll just be grinding through, knowing and having the experience on us. Yeah, we don't have Life Alert. Yeah, so that's gonna put Topstep at 4 teams. I'm excited to see it's getting there. It's slowly getting there. Will I get a team? I don't know. I don't know if I want one. Like I said, some of what I was teasing all of last week and what are you guys going to be finding out this week is that I am offering and I'm going to be giving a private group class. A private group class where this upcoming week you guys are going to see all the details. I want to be doing it for slow markets, and everybody knows my soft side is for the traders who tune in every single night, and we'll be doing it during slow markets. Private group class. It's not a VIP. VIP takes a lot of time and a lot of dedication because Coach Hoop, Ray, Jay, and the coaches, they dedicate a lot of time. They dedicate a lot of time. They put a lot of effort into those VIP rooms. And so right now I don't have that much time to dedicate to it, but I'm really able to do kind of a shortened session, I guess. I'm able to dedicate some of the time, not all the time. So yeah, that's the best I could do for right now. Like I said, I have a lot of stuff that I do outside of trading and outside of Topstep. But I'm willing to do that. You don't think you could send links there? Probably not. Probably not. Press. Anyway, yeah, nothing's happened in these markets since I've started talking. We had the Nikkei sell-off. Crude oil's been, going up. I mean, that's a pretty decent sized move on crude from 74.10 to 74.50. That's a decent move on crude oil. Is that a double bottom? Was that a nice double bottom to buy? Is crude oil going to look to see if it could retake $75 a barrel? Maybe. I'm going to wait. We're going to see what happens. I'm not seeing anything else move. Nikkei basically stopped. Let's take a look at gold. We see a spike at gold right at 8 p.m. So maybe we see something happen in gold. But other than that, not really much. Not much at all. Maybe look for gold to see if we could break through this. Maybe we can make a move up. Yeah, Coach Hoop's going to be great. Count me in. And, that's the thing. If you don't get in, just like the last time. Last time Topstep did the VIP session, We had a lot of traders excited. You know, not everybody could get in. That's what makes it a VIP. That's what makes it exclusive, is there will be another one. It's just a matter of time. And Topstep is always great at giving the traders who stick around and consistently involved in our community so much value. Here we go. Gold's breaking down. We're starting to see a little bit of a movement here. Let's watch this. Let's watch this. The only thing that's moving right now is gold. Look at oil. We could see his oil. Yeah, there we go. Right at 8 p.m. Seeing more volatility at this time now. That was a decent move in gold, or in crude oil. Is gold doing the same? Yeah, it'd be interesting see if gold can hold these 60s. 61. Rotation. I mean, usually we just see a spike in volatility right at 8 p.m. I've never really looked into understanding the direction of the move or rotation or any of that, but just a spike in volatility, Douglas. Someone's Furious Tiger is long. You're a lot braver than I am. I could see the longs. I could see where you could maybe get in down here. You could have a tight stop loss. And then if this does start to bounce, I mean, first area I'd look for is going to be near these highs. So for me, that would be a good, that's almost a 4-to-1 risk reward. But yeah, I don't know. Go up and then gold sells off. Yeah, I don't look too much into it. Ooh, here's a good thing. I've been watching the correlation on silver. Silver. Oh, now that's a move. Now that silver's moving. Yeah, that is a move. Let's see if that compared to gold. Who trades silver in here again? I've been watching silver, and it's very much like I was comparing it last night, the NASDAQ and the ES and silver and gold. How big of a move was that for silver? Let's see. I'm curious. That's 45 ticks. That's 45 ticks. I'm going to see. That's $1,100 on one contract. That's a lot similar to like a 50-point move in the NASDAQ. Yeah, I'm not really one to play around with the silver. I'm fine with gold. But that was volatile. That was quite the move in silver. Gold's continuing to push these 60s. If it can't hold, we could see. Can we see these lower 50s come into play? Like 55, 54? Okay, we broke those 61s. We're now below this. We're now below 2660. Yeah, silver's I believe silver is $25 per tick. Yeah, we could watch this. Sometimes gold will run stop losses. So we'll see if this is just a stop loss run and then a rally. Can you please check my account link I sent you on Discord? Trade signals. I don't know which one you are. We could do a couple stats, I guess. Yeah, gold's continuing. We're holding below 61. Let's see if gold can break through 60, we could see another volatile move down to like 58. I say volatile move. I mean, it's not crazy. Is silver doing the same? Yeah, silver is going. Why don't I just do this? We could watch them both again. Gold and then silver. Crude oil selling. Yeah, here's gold. There's silver. We could take a look at crude oil. Yeah, crude oil's right back down to 24.18 was the low. What's the NASDAQ doing? NASDAQ did break a little bit. So a lot of selling in all markets, right? Is there a market that's going up? No, everything's kind of just going down. It's under sorry. Okay. Yeah, let's do a few statistics, I guess. I mean, there's really not much going on in these markets. All right. Let's do a few statistics, and then we'll move on. We'll move on to the next. I mean, these markets are just starting to sell off. I could see a rotation even further down. Maybe we could see 360s, 370s come into play. Starting to sell off. Anyway, let's go through some statistics. If you would like, you could share me your trader statistics in the Topstep Discord in my channel. I'm going to go through a few of them pretty quick, and then I'm going to call it a night. The dollar's up. Let's take a look. Okay, let's take a look at a few stats. Thank you, Andrew A. There's the channel. But here we go. Preferably XFAs. If you have an XFA, I would prefer to review that, but I don't mind looking at a combine every once in a while. Because yeah, we all start in combines. Let's go through this. Here is a combine. It looks like this trader is trading a 150K combine, and you've been in this about almost a month, right? Almost a month. And so I like to see this. I like to see that you're trading a combine and you're not trying to pass it in like 2 days, in 3 days. That is a good thing. And that should give you, and like if you keep trading like this gives you that confidence that when you do go into an XFA and then eventually get into a live account, you know that you have the statistics to back it. So many times I see traders who try and pass a combine in 2 days, and then they say they pass a combine in 2-3 days. Then they get into the XFA and they trade completely different, or they end up blowing it really quick. But when you're trading in a combine, this is basically what you really want to do, is take your time, trade consistently, have the like 1 or 2 months worth of statistics so you have that confidence in going through this. Yeah, I mean, these are good stats. I think this is a good thing that you're doing. I mean, you're not trading every single day, and this is a good example. I'm not going to go through these stats too far in depth, but I think it's a good example. Let's keep going through. Let's go through. Yeah, how do you do your statistics? So there's a stats symbol over here on the left. If you're in your combine or your XFA, you go in there and there's an option to share it. That's how you do it. And so far I just see those two. And let's see if there's any more questions, and then I'm going to call it a night. Yeah, then I would call it a night. Remember, you don't have to trade, everybody. You really don't. You could take a day or two off. That's probably the best thing for a lot of traders to take an extra day or two off, to be honest, instead of trying to get caught up in these markets. Well, I think that's it, everybody. You guys are not sending me your stats. We'll get to some questions if you have them in the chat, and I think I'm just going to call it good. What's your average contract size? Evan, if it depends on the market I'm trading, but if I'm in the NASDAQ, like 1 to 3 contracts. If like in my live account and this account, it depends on the trade setup. If I have a good risk reward, I'll throw in 5 contracts. Yeah. Have a great Sunday as well, Larry. Joe, you've been saying you call it a night 5 minutes ago. Joe, all you do is come in here and cause trouble. We come in here, we talk about markets. If the markets are not moving, then yeah, I'm not going to force myself to sit here for an hour and a half talking about nothing. This is a broadcast to help traders, and we talk about the markets. And just like the markets, is if you don't see a trade, you just go to bed. You go relax. Am I getting FOMO? No. Eventually, as you start to watch these markets long enough, you kind of get rid of FOMO. I still do get FOMO every once in a while, and I think everyone does. Like, for example, where's that one? Let's take silver, right? Whenever you see moves in the markets like this, you really do wish you could have taken some really good trade setups, or say you see a good trade setup in a market that you typically trade, and the trade would have worked out really good, and it sucks. You missed out on that trading opportunity, and there's nothing you could really do about it, right? And so the more you see moves like this and the more you miss out on moves, the better you are at controlling your emotions, kind of eliminating FOMO. I am one that will truly believe that you will never be able to get rid of FOMO. It might just be me, but I think FOMO is always going to be here. In your as a trader, as someone who, you wait, and then if you wait for 2 or 3 hours and then you miss the opportunity, and there's some FOMO, right? Whether you act upon it or what you do when you start feeling those emotions are what make the difference. Yeah, I feel it all the time. When I'm trading in the New York session, when I'm running a broadcast and I'm running, YouTube, and I miss really, really good trade opportunities where if I know for almost a fact, thinking to myself, if I wasn't hosting my class, I probably would have taken that trade, and I probably would have made X amount of money, but there's nothing I could do about it. It's now past, and I now have to wait for the next one to set up. And sometimes it sucks when you don't have a trade for a day, right? You don't trade all day, and finally one sets up and you miss it. Yeah, you get really bad. You get yourself into a really bad situation, whether you're getting in late, whether you're getting a bad entry, whether you let those emotions get into your trading after you place it. It's never a good thing. You just shared, Coach? Let's see. We'll look at this. We'll look at this one. I mean, you only have 4 days in this. Trading pretty big size for this account. So, I mean, well, you got some micros in there, but then you have 5 minis. 5 minis for a 50K account. That's pretty big. That's a little scary for this size. So try scaling it down. Remember, you don't have to pass in 2 days. Or is that the pass limit right there? Is 3,000? Is that it? NQ looks by. I wonder if should I just drag this session out in despite of that whoever it was in here complaining. Do you have days that you don't trade? Evelyn, yes. Everyone should have days that they don't trade. Everybody should 100% have days that you do not trade. And I think today is going to be one for me. Yeah, today I think is going to be one that I don't trade. I most likely will wait for tomorrow. Because even on the 15th, we have Brett Steenbarger. That's something I'm excited about outside of these markets, right? Where it comes to trading psychology. Brett Steenbarger is going to be on the 15th, 11 a.m. Dakota, will you be trading tomorrow? Yes, I will be. Tonight, I will not. Tomorrow, I will. I'm expecting what we're seeing tonight. I'm expecting the markets to be very slow. I'm not expecting anything too crazy to happen, but I am going to be here. And if something sets up, I will trade it. Second day is a roller coaster example of how not to trade. What's your most common day you don't trade, Dakota? I don't think it's a specific day that I don't trade. Usually it's around rollover. Usually it's rollover. I don't like to trade rollover. It's like right in the middle or right at the end of rollover. I'll stop trading or I won't trade. Okay, here's a good one. Now this is the last statistics I'm gonna do. Maybe, we'll see. Why not set up a buy on a lower level you like with good risk? Nick, yeah, that's definitely something that you can do. I do it sometimes. We could go over it. Okay. Here is an XFA, Express Funded account, so you can receive a payout in this account. So that's why I do like reviewing them. There's a lot more pressure on traders, instead of just treating it like a regular combine. But yeah, XFA looks like you've been in this since May. So let's take a. Oh my! I've rarely seen a trader in an XFA for this long. So it looks like you took like some break. Maybe you switched to a combine or something where it looks like you got in it, you traded it for a little bit, you switched to a combine, you made a trade just to keep it active. And now you're starting to get trading back into it. So here is a beautiful example of you do not have to trade. You do not have to trade and take your time, right? Whether you switch back to a combine or a demo account until you feel comfortable trading again, then you start trading. But here we are. Here's a trader. You have a lot of statistics in this account. Your risk reward is just under 1-to-1. Your trade percentage is about, just over 1-to-1. And you're break even in this account over this long of time, which is you. Correct me if I'm wrong. You've got a lot of experience trading this account. Like you've probably learned a lot from trading one account, a lot more than I guarantee you everybody gets from blowing through, 3, 4, 5 accounts. And that's a beautiful thing about trading small and keeping one account active for so long is you gain that experience on one account, more experience than someone does going through like 5 or 6 accounts in the same period of time. Average trade duration, 6 minutes. It looks like you're trading 2 lots for every trade, just looking like a 2-to-1 on the number of trades versus your number of lots. Interesting. My first view on this, I mean, it looks like a lot of your losses are coming after 5 minutes, right? Like this is kind of your sweet spot. From 5 minutes to like just under a minute is where a lot of your profitable trades are happening. And then as soon as it gets past that 10-minute mark, that's where a lot of your losses are happening. It looks like you had one trade go for 1 to 2 hours, and 2 trades that you just held. One of them winner, one of them losers, but you're not cutting off your losses quick enough. Is that something that I'm recognizing that first? Usually when I do see something like this, I'll tell myself, or I'll tell the trader, I'll say, maybe consider a time stop. Maybe you could consider a time stop, saying if your trade lasts 5 minutes, you just cut it off. Maybe if your trade lasts 6 minutes, you cut it off, knowing that if you have the trade run longer than 6-7 minutes, the odds are it's going to be a loser. I don't consider that. I see only 2 journal entries. Maybe consider journaling more, going throughout your months. It looks like May was a really good month for you. So journal entries. I don't know if you're journaling, somewhere else. You don't have to journal on the platform. You could journal on your own. I do like your trading micros. I think that's a very important thing. That's allowed you to keep your account for so long. It looks like when you do trade minis, you take a loss. No, it's not. It's a mix. I'd stick to micros, right? And until you feel the confidence. You don't need to trade minis yet. Try and stay consistent. Trade minis and stay consistent. And then once you start to, consistently see improvement in your trading, then you could jump up to minis as well. But nothing crazy. That's a good thing to see. In the drawdown, I want to dig myself out of a hole. Yep, Segi. So that's the same thing. You can't get yourself out of the hole in one day, or at least you shouldn't, because that's not proper. How do you know when the market is going to be choppy? If a person doesn't trade well in a choppy market, how do you know when it is safe to trade? Thanks. The bad thing is you never know, right? So I want to talk about that. We could talk about that since that was my last stat I'm going to review. Is how do we know this market's going to be choppy? Well, we don't know for sure, right? We can say, like Douglas said, we could have some type of indicator. We could say the VIX. If the VIX is low, then it's going to be choppy. We could do something like an ATR. So an indicator called an ATR, average true range. When the average true range goes down, then, I don't want to trade. I only want to trade when an average true range is above, say, 23 at an average true move, average true range. So you could use an indicator for that, or you could use maybe technical analysis, like say on a higher time frame, say an 15-minute chart or an hour chart, or even a daily chart, right? We looked at the daily and we're saying, wow, this market could be choppy until we break out of this range. And, this is something I look at as well, is look how choppy this market was. On the 10th, we started and stopped, basically where we opened, same on the 11th. And then today we're right in the middle. And so you could easily put something into your strategy that says, until we break this, I'm not going to trade it. Or you could even do it on an hourly chart and do the same thing. You could say, wow, when we get down here, I'm going to trade it one way. If we get in the middle, I'm not going to trade it. If we get up here, I'm going to trade it a different way. Then if we break down, then, maybe I start trading it like a trending market to the downside. If we start to break above, say 500, then you trade it like a trending market to the long side. So you could just put something simple and rules based, and then maybe you could even consider news, right? So we know for a fact tonight and tomorrow that's a bank holiday, and odds are we're not going to see a lot of crazy trending day on a bank holiday. even though we could, because anything can happen. But, statistically, in the past, whenever we have a bank holiday, trading is really slow and boring and low volume. And then it's a shortened week. We have no news on Monday. We don't really have news on Tuesday. And we don't have news on Wednesday. So you can, maybe make a fair assumption that maybe it could be choppy until we get some type of news that could change that, which it might be Thursday, right? So you can make those assumptions as a trader, but know that the market could change at any moment. Like, I could make those assumptions. I go to bed tonight and I could wake up tomorrow and the market might be all the way down to 20,000 because of some crazy news that just happened. That was completely unexpected, or vice versa. We could be up 300-400 points and okay, guess what? It's no longer a choppy, boring day. We are now trending. And that's the beautiful thing about trading is you just never know. You could plan and predict and do your best to prepare, but ultimately you have to trade what the market's giving you. All right. That being said, who watched the Tesla event? Anybody in here? Did anybody see the Tesla event? That's one thing I wanted to ask everybody here about the robots and the autonomous cars. What is your guys' thoughts on all of that? Here we go. No. It got me to buy some Tesla stock. I mean, when you wake up the very next morning, we're down 9%. I sold some puts. It was a little scary. I don't know. Today and over the weekend, I was driving and I was like, okay, now I just feel really crappy about driving in this traffic after watching that. After watching that, I could fall asleep and just wake up at my destination. So there's a part of me doing it, but then there's a part of me saying, it took me a long time just to get used to the lane keep in my car, where I can trust that when I get close to a car, it will slow down for me. I had a hard time trusting that, yet alone trusting a completely autonomous car to get me from point A to point B. So I think there's going to be I think it's going to take a lot longer than what people expect. And I could almost guarantee that's why the market sold off and timelines. You're just disappointed there was no concrete plans. I think it was all just, there's a lot of hope that came into it. The rocket ship capture was wild. Yeah, it was. I seen highlights on that. Scary for sure. Well, I'll leave you guys at that. I'm excited. I'm always excited to see the future. That's another beautiful thing on why I love trading. We are in the front of it, right? We get to hear the news as soon as it's happening. We get to see the reaction of the markets when it's announced, when things go on. And I love it. I love trading. I love that aspect of what we do. Is we're always seeing of what's going on, every little move in the market. We have so much data, and I love the fact that sometimes I get to find out a whole bunch of stuff before a lot of my friends know. And it's like, yeah, what happened in the market today? I'm like, yeah, Tesla dropped 9%. You know why? And I get to have that conversation. So I do love that aspect of what we do. Is we get to have an amazing community. We have amazing traders that we could talk back and forth and talk about the events that are happening around the world, good, bad, and how they affect one another. So I'm going to leave it at that. Now, reminder, Brett Steenbarger is going to be on the 15th. I'm going to talk about that every single night. I'm excited. He's one where I'm always excited to watch and listen to, and I even watch the recording once or twice. And yeah, until then, I will see everybody bright and early tomorrow morning. Remember, it's a bank holiday. You do not have to trade. You can see the markets are being very slow, and yeah, there's a lot better things than sitting here watching the market, especially at this pace. So until then, take care, everybody, and I will see you tomorrow.